Grab a coffee, glass of water, tea, whatsoever. 1 or 2 minutes will be more than enough to wait, and after it, we're going to start with the webinar. Yeah, people are coming. So I think it's the right time to start. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Milan, and I work as a business development manager and AWS team lead at JSGuru. So JSGuru is a software development company. So we would like to say we create digital experience for VC-backed startups, corporations, and SMEs. So by digital experience, I mean software development, so like web and mobile development, UX, UI design, and cloud solutions. By cloud solutions, I mean we do some AWS professional services. One more interesting thing, we are recognized as the second fastest IT growing company in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Now I'm finished with introduction. So we can start with this interesting topic. The name of the topic is how to leverage AWS services for your startup growth. First of all, I will show you today's webinar's agenda. So we are going to go through 5 steps. I'm not sure how many people here that attend to this webinar are with technical background. So I will talk about it like in the simplest way. I will not use some technical terms. So I will try to, like I'm explaining to someone of my friends who is not from IT world. So what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is on-demand delivery of IT resources over the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. What I mean by that? For example, if you have a PC and you would like to play some video game, and this video game is pretty cool, but it's demanding. You need a good compute capacity, RAM memory, graphic, and so on. So in that case, and of course, you don't know for how many days you are going to play it, because maybe it's not, this game will not be so much funny in let's say 3 days. And because of that, you would not like to buy the gaming computer just because of this game. And let's say that's something similar with the IT resources over the cloud. So you're going to rent some PC, or you're going to rent some servers, compute capacity, RAM, and so on. And with that, you're going to pay just for what you are using. If you use it just for a couple of days, you're going to pay just for those couple of days. And of course, what you just need for that is just the internet, nothing more. So who can use this? Actually, everyone. So organizations of every type, size, and industry are using cloud for a wide variety of use cases, such as data, backup, disaster recovery, email, virtual desktops, software development, and so on and so on. So by that I mean startups can use it, enterprises can use it, some medium enterprises can use it, so almost everybody. So there are some cloud benefits. First of all, it's easy to use. So you have like cost savings benefits, elasticity, security, global reach, and scalability. What I mean by that? Easy of use. That means, for example, if you want to build an application on the cloud, you don't need to have building to have a enough free space, for example, to put there some servers, data centers, and so on. I will show you why it's easy for use, because you don't need so many people to run your infrastructure, so to maintain your infrastructure. So when we talk about cost savings, what is really interesting, you don't need to invest a lot. By that I mean you don't need to buy big servers, big data centers, so you don't have any upfront payments. Like I said, there's just pay as you go. So elasticity, for example, if you have an application or you build an MVP of your startup, and you're not sure what you're going to do or in which way you're going to build your application. So after you build an MVP, you find out it's better to go in, I don't know, in some other way that you not think about. So, and with the cloud, it's pretty simple because you have a lot of services and there are a lot of already solutions. You don't need to build it by yourself. So because of that, you get a lot of time. So there is like, I would like to say, speed to market. You go to market a lot faster. So security, I think the problem with security is because when we talk about cloud, people always ask me, okay, what do you think about security of cloud? Because my whole data will be there, who can use it, someone will store it, and so on. When we talk about cloud, there's no such thing. The only thing that if someone stole you like your data, it's because you made a mistake. There's a shared responsibility. For example, with AWS, they maintain your hardware. Nobody can steal your hardware. But of course, if you put data, you manage your data, there's a chance that you gave someone permission. And if you gave someone permission, they can steal your data. By that I mean some people, for example, put their access code and security codes in code, and when you for example, when you have a GitHub or something else and someone else get there, they can find out what your access key or security key, and they could reach out to your data. So global reach, I mean by that, for example, if you are from France or Germany, it's easier. And if you are from Germany and you would like to, after let's say 1 year, you would like to get into new market, for example, USA, it's pretty simple because they have data centers and regions, so ability zones. Later we're going to talk more about that. They have that in, for example, USA, and it's easy to just to copy everything, so your infrastructure, and move it to USA. And by that, you don't going to have any latency problems. Your application will perform so perfect, like let's say, like in optimal conditions. So, and scalability. By scalability, the one interesting thing, for example, if you have application and those, for example, you have a website, and this website normally e-commerce site, and this site normally through month from month they have like, let's say, 1,000 visitors, and then comes Black Friday. What you're going to do with that? Because your visitors going to increase by, let's say, 500%. So if you have on-premise, then that means that you at every time you need to have at least like 5 times bigger data centers because of those 2 or 3 days, let's say like Cyber Monday and Black Friday and some other day when your visitor expands like so much, like 5 times more. And that means that your data centers will just run on 20%. So other 80% you're going to use just in 3 days per year. So economy, where is the economy here? And with the scalability and with the cloud, they help you with that because they give you just, for example, they give you compute capacity, storage, and everything you need for those days. They give you immediately, and you use them for 1 day or 2 days. And after it, you're going to pay just for those 2 days. So you're going to save a lot. So next step, to be more familiar with the cloud, there are types of cloud deployments. So you have a private cloud. What is a private cloud? Private cloud, I would like to say that will be who will use private cloud. I think that government or some kind of banks are going to use private cloud because of regulations and other stuff. That means you're going to have a server or data centers that that is just dedicated to one organization. For example, you are in Germany and there's, for example, in Berlin, but you're using cloud, and for that cloud you are going to you're using some compute capacity and everything. There are some data centers, but that data centers, for example, there is one in Frankfurt, so the availability zone in Frankfurt, and those availability zones are going to be just dedicated to you. No one could share. It's just for you. Like you have like a whole room just for yourself. So just one room is working just for one customer. No sharing hardware. And there is a public cloud. So server, data centers, and other resources are shared with other organizations. So like compute capacity, storage, and everything is shared with more clients, so to say. And there is a hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud, I would like to say that those kind of clouds use some enterprises, which because a lot of enterprises that are like on the market like 10 or 15 or even more years, they already have their own data centers. And of course, it's not so easy to just sell it or everything, and why you shouldn't use it. But you would like to use also a cloud. So because of it, you are going to mix, so use both of it. You're going to use on-premise and public cloud. Also, by hybrid cloud, we are talking about when you're using public and private clouds. So you want to have something dedicated to you and something that you could share resources with other organizations. For example, you would like to your data be just dedicated, for example, dedicated. So hardware for data will dedicate it just to you, and other things you can easily share with others. And there is a multi-cloud. Multi-cloud is something interesting, for example, because there are clouds that, for example, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, they all have something in which they are pretty good. For example, Google is pretty good with AI. Also, AWS is good with AI, but some people are more familiar with Google or would like to use Google. And there's also a lot of companies which don't want to stick with just one cloud. So because of it, you can use more clouds, so more cloud providers. So next step is types of clouds. By that, I mean there's software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and something new is function as a service. What is software as a service? Software as a service is, for example, Slack, HubSpot, and Dropbox, and such things. And as you can see there in the picture, there is things that you need to manage and what provider will manage to you. For example, that in the blue, so rounds, there is that's the thing that you need to manage. For example, if you are on premise, you need to manage everything. So from networking, storage, servers, all the way to the application. So if you use software as a service, you're just going to use application. For example, I think that you already have used Dropbox, or for example, Gmail. You're just going to use application. So platform as a service, it's something more simpler. That's I would like to say something above infrastructure. So you would like to manage your data and applications, and people say that's more for developer. They like it because then they don't need someone who would maintain their operating system and other stuff. Then don't need then some system administrator. And there is infrastructure as a service. By that, the biggest provider is AWS, and and function as a service. By that, I mean that serverless. I hope that you already heard about serverless, What is serverless? That means that if you have an application and you don't need to run your compute capacity all the time, just when something is happening. For example, if you upload a picture on your storage, then you could trigger that compute capacity to do something for you. So that's something like that's in trend. I think that I use the right word for that, and I think that it will be used more and more in the future. Also, I will show you some case. The case study with the Ducati will show you why why function as a service or why serverless is such a good thing. So next, yeah, let's introduce Amazon Web Services. Today, it is the leading cloud platform because they have the most functionalities. They have like more than 200 services, and each year they expand that more than, I think, like more than 30 services a year now. And I think that there is no one who know every service what to do. But if you are familiar with AWS or with Amazon Web Services, you can easily investigate it. For example, you need something for IoT, you just type IoT, and after it there is a good documentation for it, and it's pretty easy to use. So what is also good for AWS is that they have the largest community of customers and partners. By that, if you are from developer, if you're a developer, then you need to know, why is this so important? Because when a community is big, there is always someone who had some kind of problems like you, and they have a solution for that. Then about security, they say that AWS the most secure about all clouds, but I don't think that you need to think a lot about security. Also with other clouds, it's 100% or even more. I don't know how many times more secure than your own servers or data centers. And yeah, when we talk about innovation, like I said, there's always innovation, always new services to help you with your application, to help you achieve what you want to. So let's say to help you achieve your goals. And one interesting thing about AWS, they have the most proven professional expertise. That means they have a lot of people that use, professional people that use AWS. And of course, by that, I mean, if you have a cloud and you would like to have or you would like to find someone who could help you, it's easier to find someone with AWS knowledge than someone with, for example, Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure. And what is interesting by AWS is that they have like 24 regions. What are the regions? Regions are places or countries where AWS have their data centers, the availability zones. And by availability zones, I mean they're really like physical hardwares that I'm sorry that I didn't show you pictures of the availability zones, but they're just big places where they're like, I don't know, massive like hardware storage. And what is interesting about availability zones, for example, if you have if you use some of their, for example, one of availability zone, there's also always a backup. So if it happens some natural disaster with one of those availability zones, there's always a backup. So there's no chance that you're going to lose your data or whatsoever. What is also interesting, they more than AWS serve more than 190 countries. So I think that's whole world, I would say. Here is some services which could you use. So there are application services, mobile services, administration and security, compute, and so on. So there is, I'm not sure, let's say 2, 4, 6. There's like I would say like 30 services. So there are more 170 to come. But for example, for startups, I think that normally what you need is compute capacity, it's storage, and it's database. After it, you need to choose, is it for mobile development, is it IoT, is it machine learning application, and you can use all those services which AWS can provide to you. And now with the funny thing. So 5 most common challenges faced by startups. Like I said, I think there is much more to come, but I chose those ones. I think those ones are the most common ones. Maybe there is one more or two more that I miss, but I hope you will understand. So what are those 5s? There's like financial management, data security, scaling, agility, and time management. And financial management. I think that the biggest problem with whole startup is financial management. Money, because you don't earn anything, but you need to invest a lot. Why? So for me, I would like to say it's pretty simple why you should choose cloud, because there are no upfront costs. It's easier to know how much you're going to spend each month than, for example, if you need to invest in a data center, in your service. First of all, you don't know how much of capacity you're going to use. You don't know what to expect. Planning, I think that planning is not so good with startups, because you don't know what is going to happen, what is good for you, what is bad for you. So because of that, I think cloud is pretty simple. You need something for the beginning, for MVP. So you're going to choose what kind of servers do you need. Is it Windows? Is it Linux? What are the compute capacity that you need? Storage for images, videos, or whatsoever. Database. AWS give you I think the most variety of databases, from MySQL to Oracle to PostgreSQL and so on. And data security, a lot of startups are thinking of security. And the problem is, for example, if you have your own servers, for example, if there is a natural disaster or something's happened to your servers, you're going to lose all your data. And I think that's not such a good thing. Also, it's easier to have a security with AWS, because they care of your hardware and other stuff, so no one could steal your data. Scaling, like I said before, when you have a startup, you don't know when is the time when your startup going to blow. So to increase, for example, when you need to increase your capacity, and if you have servers or your own data center, it's pretty hard to plan that. For example, maybe something happened and whole world finds out about your startup, and immediately you have for example, you have a website, you have 1,000 visitors, and your app is going to crash. With AWS, you can prepare yourself for that. Just I would say in 10 minutes. You're just going to rent another compute capacity. You're going to build your storage and so on. Agility, I think that problem with startup is you don't know where you're going to go. Here at JSGuru, we are thinking it's the best thing to build MVP, and after it to listen to audience, and after you listen to audience, then you know in which way you should go. And time management, Time management, by that I think like if you have like your own infrastructure, your own data centers, it's much easier, of course, to concentrate yourself more on business so I would like to say to be more creative than to think about infrastructure, about hardware, and so on. So I think I have chosen some common challenges faced by startups. So next step is, how can AWS help you to solve them or to overcome those challenges? So financial management, there is pay as you go. So it's pretty simple to track. For example, each month you know how much you're going to spend this month. And by that, of course, it's easier to calculate yourself because you're going to earn and you're going to spend. There's no such big investment. So, for example, I don't know, some like 20, 30 thousand of dollars. It's easier to spend like 200 or 100 or even nothing. It depends month than to invest. So there are no upfront costs, as I said, no infrastructure cost. Of course, there is maintaining cost of those hardware. So you don't have anything. It's like you're just renting it. It's like you rent a car. Pretty simple. You're just paying for how many days you're going to use it, and that's it. So that data security, as I said, by AWS, you have shared responsibility. You need to care just whom you give your permissions to data, and all other stuff like infrastructure protection, tree detection, they are going to do for you. And there is identity and access management. It's pretty simple to manage that. By that I mean you're going to manage who can use your data, who can see your data, and so on. Scaling, as I said, scaling is pretty simple. If Black Friday comes, you just need like 20 minutes to scale your application to be ready to receive 500, 5,000 visitors if you want. So it's pretty simple. Actually, you could also automatically maintain performance. So there's also automation. You're already going to build it up all before Black Friday, and AWS will do it for you. Agility. So react quickly on changes. By that I mean, for example, if you find out there's something trendy in the world with AWS and with those services, it's pretty simple to how I say, to innovate or to use it, those services for you. Actually, yeah, by the agility, there is, like I said, about serverless, there's also like microservices. You're going to, with cloud, you can build it pretty simple to be as flexible as it could be with microservices, and increase speed for product development. As I said, it's pretty simple because of all those services on AWS. You can use them, and it's pretty clear how this could help you. And there's time management. With time management, as I said, with less care about infrastructure, you could have more focus on business, on so creativity, and I think that's the main thing actually, because everyone who have a startup, they have an idea, so they need to put more focus on idea and not on infrastructure or some other things, just to so. And yeah, like I said, there is a comparison. Like I said, here you can see a market share, whereas AWS with dark blue. For example, if you sum up Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and Alibaba together, it's something like AWS. Why is that so? Because AWS established, so they started with cloud computing like in 2006, I think, and Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud 2010, 2011. So there is a pretty big time gap between that, and of course with that they have a lot more experience in cloud. AWS, in my opinion, is the best, but there's always something, because Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure are also better at something than AWS. So in my opinion, Amazon Web Services, they have the widest range of services, more than 200. Microsoft Azure is, I think that they have, I think like 100 and something. Google Cloud less than 100. So when we talk about ecosystem, about community, AWS has the best community. I think that's pretty cool, because when you have a problem, there is a big community and there is always someone who had the same problem as you. Least amount of downtime. Actually, I think that Google Cloud is also good here. Microsoft Azure had some big problems with their downtime. With serverless computing, there is also AWS has Lambda, but Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure, they also had their serverless. So my opinion, they are even here. And where is Microsoft Azure better? For example, I think that a lot of enterprises have Microsoft Azure because they already have Office 365, they have like Dynamics and so on, Microsoft Dynamics. And because of it, for them, it was simpler to use Microsoft Azure than to learn your employees about AWS. So they are also pretty good with a hybrid cloud platform, Azure Stack it calls, because Microsoft also sells some hardware, and it's easier for them to build it. I would say it's easier for them to, for example, if you have Microsoft hardware, of course, if you're going to expand, you're going to use their cloud. And they are pretty good with platform as a service for .NET apps. Of course, if you're using like .NET for your application, it makes sense because it's Microsoft to use Microsoft than to use AWS or Google Cloud. Google Cloud is also, I think that their focus is on AI and machine learning. They're also pretty good with hybrid and multi-cloud, because I think that they wanted to say to people, if you want to have another cloud, if you don't want to have just one cloud, we are pretty good to be your second cloud. And yeah, you need always something reach better market share, I would say. So all in one, it's pretty hard to say, because every one of them have machine learning services, Microsoft Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud. But if you could say, I think Google Cloud had put more focus on machine learning. But of course, it's like in trend now. AWS also invests a lot there, so it's hard. I think that you need to investigate a lot. If you have application, you need to investigate and see which cloud fits you the best. And if you're a startup, AWS there is AWS Activate. So as you see, they give promotional credits ranging between $1,000 and $50,000. There are also free tier services, and because JSGuru, where I work, my company, we are a certificate partner of AWS. There's also some promotion for our clients if they are startup, and I think they're pretty good. They are doing a pretty good job with startups because of all those benefits. And so if you are a startup and if you choose AWS, I think it makes sense to apply for those, I don't know how it's called, like packages or so. Case studies, I'm not sure, as you can see, there are, I put on the left side, I put startups on AWS, and there are also enterprises. There, in my opinion, there are some of the most famous startups like Airbnb, Pinterest, Tinder. Yelp, and they are so much more like Spotify. Yeah, I use Spotify a lot. And there's also enterprise customers, but it's, yeah, just some of them. There are much more. Actually, if you want, I could share to you or later send you an email with all their case studies. Maybe you could find something also for yourself, for your industry, if you are grounding a startup. So this one is Brainly. That's the world case. Yeah, that's the world's largest online learning community. They are founded in 2009. What is pretty cool by them, what what they say for them, like they had a problems because first of all they had like on-premise servers, and after that after they reach their service exceeds like number of 100 of servers, they realize that they have a problem. So, and because their IT team was too small to maintain those servers, and after they decide to go to the cloud. So what are the benefits of cloud? It's pretty simple. They eliminated outages by almost 100%. They cut the operational costs by 50%. So after that, they had more resources for development. They also even after that, yeah, after they get into the cloud into the AWS, they also use AWS enterprise support and technical account manager, and also with that, with their saving plans, with reserved instances, spot instances, they reduce their compute price of their compute capacity by I think it was like 60%. Yeah, 60. Yeah, it says there 60%. And the most interesting thing I think here is that they have just IT team. It consists of 4 people instead of 25. So I think they are available in more than 35 countries. They have users like more than 2-3 millions users, maybe even more. I will check it now. A second. It's pretty big number. Yeah, they have more than 200 millions user monthly, and they manage that just for people. Next example is Mobile Guardian. That's actually our client. We are very proud on this. We are with them from the beginning, and they are based in England, founded in 2011. They are also in education industry, so they have mobile devices. It's mobile device management solution for schools. They have more than 100,000 devices, and here is I don't know how to say. So they operate in more than 6 countries, or more, I'm not sure. So, and what is interesting by them, they also managed by small IT team, and there's just one system engineer maintaining the whole infrastructure. I think we have like almost 10 developers develop Mobile Guardian, and still there because Mobile Guardian innovates a lot. Every day there's new features and new things. And yeah, as I said, there is Ducati. This one was in Singapore. Ducati company wanted to try something new, and in order to try that, they need to first of all, there is what they use. They use just 3 services for that. Oh, there is a Q&A. Would you recommend that for a website that's around 50? Of course, there is, or those numbers are small. No, for AWS there is no limitation for that. As I said, you already saw Pinterest, you already saw Tinder. They have like pretty much people who visit their websites, who visit their application, who use this application daily, actually. So what is interesting with Ducati, they tried it for 3 months. They built up this application, and there was like 15,000 visits, and there was like more than 1,700 orders. And how much does it cost? It costs just $5.76 for 3 months. So it's pretty easy to test it, to test your application, to try other things. It doesn't cost you a lot. So because of that, I would say I would choose cloud. So I think that times runs out. We have a couple of minutes more for Q&A. So I hope I was interested and that you learn a lot. So you could write just there in question and answers, and I will try to answer you immediately. If you are interested, also you could reach out to me by email or at LinkedIn. Milan Škorić is the name. I will show you right now. Here you can find me with this name on LinkedIn or on email. It's milan.škorić@jsguru.io. So if you're interested, it's pretty simple. You could do that. So I will wait for the questions. Yeah, if you have questions, I'm here and I'm more than happy to answer to you. I also see some people with who speaks my mother language. So if you want, you can also ask me in BKS or Bosnian, Serbian, Croatian, whatsoever. Anyone? Anything?
Yes, Milan, we do have a question.
I could speak like this. Yeah, as I said, cloud is pretty complex. Okay. Any further reading reference to set up AWS and how to choose services in AWS? AWS has a big documentation. It depends what kind of application are you going to use. Is it web? Is it a mobile application? And by that, you could find anything online. But of course, I would be happy to help you. So if you want, you can. I will type you here my email. So yeah, here is an email. Yeah, I know it's documentation is pretty huge. Yeah, so here is an email. I think that you got it. So type an answer. So I think that you got it. So if you want, if you are not sure what should you use, or if the documentation is too big, I would gladly speak with you one-on-one, because I think there is not enough time to to go all through that. So just send me an email and I will help you. Anyone else?